The irony is you spend less time trying to talk to women and you talk to more beautiful women. It was this concept of business at the highest level of business and sales and dating. You start to see identical features in those two areas.
Dating and sales is very correlated because it's people. You know, you have a product, you want to sell it. In dating, that product is you. You have to market it, you have to sell it. Market it in terms of presenting yourself, selling in terms of the communication aspect, building comfort, all that stuff. Or if you're using dating apps, setting up the date, the soft close, the hard close, all these little concepts that I've came up with and strategized have really came from the sales game. It's all very similar. Sales funnel, dating funnel, leads, high interest leads, warm prospects, cold leads, it's all very similar.
It is crazy. If you ever read Oren Klaff's book, Pitch Anything, he talks about, these are literal chapter names: eliminate neediness, frame control. Like, these are straight out of dating. I tell people all the time, my favorite book on dating is The $100 Million Offer by Alex Hormozi. Like, have an offer that's so good that nobody wants to say no to it. And then the concept of frame control is just so totally important when you're trying to pitch something, and it's very important when you're talking to a girl as well. Often you'll have a girl will test you and you'll be like, so what's your body count? How many girls you slept with? And I'm like, you remember when you went to the bathroom? It's like, yeah, I slept with 3 more girls while you were there. I've slept with like 8 million. Slept with everyone. You just don't give in to their frame. Their frame is you supplicating to them, or their frame is you qualifying to them with your body count. And instead you just turn it into a joke. And that's something that I found that works out really well, is that whole concept of frame control. Yes. The higher I get on the sales study and the higher I get with talking to more beautiful women, I found that they're almost identical. The techniques are almost identical.
It's all people, man.
Social media versus cold approach. This is a really interesting thing you just mentioned before earlier in this. And I've talked to Mystery about this before. I just feel like it's not that cold approach doesn't work. I just feel like there's been a software update. I feel like if you're just doing cold approach, it's like you're running Windows 95 excellently, like a really crisp version of Windows 95, but there's new software updates that have happened since then. Let's go back to the business and dating thing. You want to sell a product. If I have an info product, I can scale it infinitely by selling the product direct to cart, running ads, and then going out and having events in real life and sell my product infinitely. When I show my higher status, higher sexual selection, higher access to scarce resources, relevancy, and competency on social media, I can scale it infinitely, versus no matter how good I am at cold approach, I can never match those numbers.
Yeah, it's kind of like, knocking on door sales versus, sending like an email blast.
Yeah.
In terms of marketing and sales, it's just primitive to me. I believe cold approach can work in certain contexts and in certain time frames of people's lives. So for example, if you're a young guy, you're in college, you're in a social environment, you're always around people, you have a big network, even that's not really cold. I guess that's a more warm approach, and plus the availability of women when you cold approach, you don't know if she's single, in a relationship. A big objection you'll get is, oh, I have a boyfriend, whether it be rejection or actually true.
Yeah.
You just overall just waste a lot of time. And one thing I'm big on, creating value for yourself outside of just dating. So whether it be working on your body, your business, leveling up in your career, whatever it may be. And so I want to minimize the time spent dealing with women by maximizing the other areas and using other areas of leverage to do so. I don't want to approach 100 to 500 girls a week personally. I'm not in the headspace to do that, nor do I want to. But, if you're 19, 20 years old, you just made it to college or something, then by all means go for it. But if you get to, where you're 25 plus, you're not going to want to do that, man.
Yeah, it's what you said is so key. I work on all these other parts of my life, right? I show competency in my business. I'm financially set. I'm in a really good position with my physique and my health. I have really great social alignments, and I have a bunch of women in my life who possibly introduce me to more women. I'm used to being around beautiful women. Women give me access to incredible parties and locations and stuff like that. And the irony is you spend less time trying to talk to women and you talk to more beautiful women. This is a huge misunderstanding, because I'm sure with your social media, you put a lot of work into your social media, but the ROI you get out of it is humongous. A lot of guys, the objection they give me is I want to do cold approach because I don't have time to do social media or social circle, not recognizing, no, it's an investment. Like you invest into real estate and then it pays you money over time. When you make that initial investment, it's constantly, and by the way, the returns are geometric. They're not exponential, they're geometric. When you just do cold approach, your returns are arithmetic, meaning they're 1 and 1 and 1 and 1. When you do like you said, with social media thing, the returns you get are so great that you actually spend less time getting better results.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. Put work, on the front end and then continually get results on the back end, passive income.
Yeah.
If you
It
wanna
is.
put
It is
that
passive
way.
income for sure. The concept is like, think of your Instagram almost, I consider it like an office. Imagine if you went to a personal injury attorney's office and a wall was missing, there was no couch, there was no carpeting. That's what it looks like when you have a social media where you're wearing a flannel shirt at a college football game where it's blurry and you're sitting there with 16 of your dudes drinking beer. That's what you look like to women. I think one of the issues I have, and I think you agree with me on this, is that social media for a man trying to attract a woman is a status game. It's not a showing pictures of you with grandma game. That's what Facebook is for. That we've retired those photos, we've archived them to Facebook. Instagram needs to be, you are competing with other men for access to like sexual selection and higher status. And if men don't understand, it's like gravity. If you don't believe in gravity, gravity's still going to pull you to the ground. If you don't believe there's a game going on, the game is still being played whether or not you believe it. And so many guys are like, no, I believe I'm special. I watched some guru on social media who told me that I'm enough. And I'm like, you can believe you're enough if you want, but the guy who actually gets it and takes care of all these different attributes is still going to steal your girl no matter how much you think you're enough. You're still competing. So if you just can adopt that and totally accept the idea, I'm competing with other men for these women. I've got to do things. I've got to keep my game up and actually be encouraged by that. Dude, I love the fact that there's some competition. I don't wish the game was easier. I just wish that I was better. And I think when you do that, I think it's a much more healthy way to look at this whole concept.
Exactly. And some guys, they have to allow women to be a byproduct, build the social media for yourself. You want to showcase and be attractive and, do it for you. Allow women to just naturally come in. And that's something that I experienced because initially, I was doing social media not to get women to DM me or to message women. Like I really didn't care about that back in, 2018, 2019 even. But it was a byproduct of me showcasing myself in the most attractive way possible and doing that consistently over time to the point now where I cannot post for a month or two, and every week there's somebody's DMing me, whether they be in this state, different country, my same city, like, passive income.
So the debate is always, do looks matter? And I know some guys who have a ton of status, money, really charismatic, and they'll be like, yeah, looks don't matter at all. And the reality is they do some. The looks obviously do matter a lot, like what you said. But what you just said right there, I can imagine black pill guys like clenching their buttholes and not grinding their teeth because you were saying how looks mean so much. I'm sure you get a lot of criticism from the black pill guys. Is that something that you've seen?
Actually, I'm not necessarily black pill, but I do believe like looks are very important. I believe it's like kind of the gateway and the foundation to everything else. But also keep in mind, like, for my dating strategy and for like the social media game presentation, all that stuff, is going to be a little bit more image heavy versus something, like social circle, like probably social skills might be more important in that context. If you're mute or, have some degree of like autism, then that might be difficult for you to even win in that environment, even if you're presenting yourself in the highest status, male in the room. Right. So it depends on the dating strategy, but a lot of black pillars have been agreeing with me recently, man.
I'll say they agree with you that you're getting the success because you show looks as to be number one.
Yeah, because I showcase looks because I believe that's a foundation. Because I believe guys should enhance their sex appeal. All that stuff in terms of image.
Yeah,
and because of social media and dating apps, that's why I feel like it's gotten more important too.
Yeah.